This episode of Noel Film Scene is sponsored by our fellow actor, Jana McCaffrey, attorney at law.
Welcome to Nola Film Scene with TJ Plaideau.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plaideau.
Welcome back to Noel Film Scene with TJ and Plaideau. I'm TJ.
I'm Plaideau. And we are here at GalaxyCon New Orleans, the first ever GalaxyCon New Orleans.
First one.
We brought somebody back from there. It's Bob Ross.
Happy little trees.
It's no accident. It's no accident he's here. But so, TJ, tell him who he is.
So we're here with our friend Jim Vess. Jim is an actor, and I met Jim on set. Jim is pretty well known in the New Orleans acting community.
Not for painting.
Not for painting, but he is known for making some art on set. If you've ever worked background and worked with Jim, you know who Jim is. If you've ever heard of the origami guy in the acting community in New Orleans, that's Jim Vess.
Yep.
And as we're walking through GalaxyCon, Jim told us a story about an interaction with one of the celebrities. And a few minutes later, we're walking by a hall where the celebrity is doing a panel, and we hear that celebrity telling the story of the interaction with Jim. So Jim, tell us about that. Because that's pretty funny.
Story. John Barrowman, who was on Doctor Who, he was on, what was the other show?
Arrow. So he was Captain Jack, and then he was, I don't know his character name on Arrow. He was somebody's dad. Bad guy.
Captain Jack on on his show. But I went up to him, and I did, like I said, I do my origami. I've had some great interactions with all the stars here. They all love my origami. Actually, I caught like 5 of them sharing their origami. So they were hiding behind the curtain like little kids, like with their Pokemon cards, you know, oh, I got this and I got that. So I went up to John, and I was doing I asked him about doing my origami. He was signing my autograph, and I asked him what he'd like to have. And he asked me if this was my real hair. It's not a great wig. It moves a lot, and it you can see right through it. And I said, of course it is. Not thinking anything about it, and I laughed, and we're talking, and I, you know, we went to do a selfie. You know, he's like, oh, I got this, and he's got the camera. He tells me to get around the one side of him, and he's a little bit taller than me, so he sees the top of my head, and he, you know, kind of realizes at that point that I don't have, that this is not my real hair. But he didn't realize that it was a costume till I pulled out my little paintbrush, and I did this, and he's like, oh my God, he almost dropped my phone. He was laughing so hard. He's like, oh my God, you're the painter guy. He's like, yeah, and I said, yeah, I'm the painter guy. And I went like this, and he just lost it. He's like, you told me that was your real hair. I said, I didn't think you believed me. I got quite the laugh out of him. And it's a lot of fun doing this type of stuff. It's even more fun when they share stories about you. But as we were coming in to do our interview, like TJ said, we're walking by, and I said, they're talking about me. You know, and I'm like trying to pull on doors and seeing if I could get it. It's me. They're talking about me. But no. I mean, yeah, I probably would have gotten thrown out of the con. But y'all know that, you know, I'm kind of a ham anyway, so I would have done it, and I probably would have got thrown out.
I don't think he got thrown out. The crowd would have gone crazy.
We'll never know, though, because the door's on this side of the wall.
Somebody planned it that way. They knew he was going to try.
They knew. They just knew.
They have security in place for people like me.
So you told us about your origami, but what's it made of?
Oh, I do dollar bill origami. It's just the medium I like doing. Everybody says, why don't you do it out of paper? Well, why don't you? No, never mind. I don't know. I just, that's what I learned on. I do some with other, like origami paper. But it's not like you carry around origami paper in your pocket all the time. I usually have $1 or $2 in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I just started doing more and more with dollar bills. And, you know, it's just one of those fun things. I really enjoy doing it. And it brings such a smile on people's faces. And, you know, I mean, there are times, you know, I Brian said earlier, there are times I'm on set that I probably, or no, you said that. There are times I'm on set that I probably spent more money than what I've made that day. But
that's right.
It's the fun. You know, I don't act because, well, I don't background act for the money. I background act because sometimes the craft is really good. Ham. That's why I do a pig.
I can't think of a better thing to network and meet people on set than that. You can hand out business cards. You can tell them about your podcast, or you can talk to them about just about anything, and they may or may not remember it, and they may not even remember where they met you.
Terry Farrell, I was talking to her. I'm
From Deep Space Nine.
crazy. The Terry Farrell, I was standing there talking to her. We just started, did the origami, and I'm standing there and we're talking, and she takes up my business card because Brian, suggested I start, when I'm doing this, I should give somebody a card. So they have a way to find me on Instagram or whatever. Not like, anybody's going to call me on the telephone. If they do, that phone I don't have anymore anyway. So, no, I still have the phone, but I just, I don't carry it.
Just get new cards. But anyway, go on with your story.
But, Brian's like, you need to have some way that they can find you, and they know who gave it to them. Even just local people go, God, what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name? So I wanted a way so people would remember me. So I got a little business card made up with my name on it and my Instagram and everything like that. And I put, actor and origami artist because that's what I'm known for. Probably more known for my origami. But, I've had so many great interactions with people over just the silliest things. I've had people come up to me years later and say, when you gave me that $1 bill, I was having the worst day of my life. I was just having this horrible, horrible day. And you turned that around. For $1, I made somebody's day. $1 made somebody's day.
And Jim's not just like, I'm going up to the stars and the celebrities.
No, this is just everyday people.
We were just sitting down, Jim's eating lunch, and he's starting to fold this stuff. And at the Comic-Con, it's not like you have your private tables. You know what I mean? So we're sitting down, two ladies, probably the grandma, the mom, and the little baby come up, a little toddler. And Jim just goes, here you go. And her face lights up. Probably better than the puppies that they have here.
Puppies?
Yeah, there's a whole booth with puppies. So
I gotta
Jim
go.
made her day. He didn't get anything out of it. He actually lost $1. But that's who Jim is.
I love doing it. And so many people get excited.
Was it Giancarlo Esposito that remembered you from doing one on set? And the next time he saw you, he remembered you.
He remembered my name. A year later, remembered my name. And he said, Jim, right? And I'm looking down. It's like, where's my name tag? Actually, at Barrowman's table, I was talking to the girl at Reserve. She represents him and John Barrowman. And they go all over the place. And she was talking about how great he is to work with and how he's just it's this incredible memory. And I told her that story, and she said, that's incredible. She said, for him to remember a year later, you must have really made an impression. And it's like, that makes me feel good,
Yeah.
It's something that's unique. We were talking to Luke Hawks earlier, and
Wrestler, actor,
pretty good dude.
Pretty good.
He said no one's ever given him an origami on set before. I've never, before Jim. And nobody's given me one since.
Watch this. He might beat me.
Oh, we're going to show it to him. And then we're going to film him beating you. But also, Jim and I, being part of Kevin Smith's fan club, we won tickets to the Clerks 3 premiere. And so we took Spirit Airlines over to Los Angeles, which is, it was nice. It wasn't bad. It's not as bad as you hear. But Jim's folding his origami. He gives them to the stewardesses, to the, stewards. I don't know which term. And he got us upgraded to better seats.
Yeah, they're first class. Just fatter seats. Yeah.
Yeah. It works. More leg room. He also got us free waters. But then when you think about it, you did give him a couple of dollars. So I think it balanced out that time.
That's right.
That was fun. I have a slight fear of flying. I think I might have told you that. I don't know.
I almost have the marks out of my arm now.
I don't really have a fear once I'm in the air. Once the wheels leave the ground, I'm okay. But actually taking off like that, going down the runway, I am freaking the heck out. Yeah. And I don't like to fly. I love flying. I don't like to take off. Kind of same way about landing, but the taking off, for whatever reason, I have to do my little origamis. I have to sit there and I have to fold 5 of them, or I have this weird thing in my head. I can't fold every one of them I do, but I used to have to do 5 of them. Now I do whatever I can do before we take off. I don't have any number in my head, but it used to be, I had to do this many and to make the plane take, and I'm ADD. So I'm like all over the place anyway. So
not only to distract yourself, but you had to keep the plane up in the air by folding.
Exactly. I did that. I'm responsible for that.
I appreciate you getting us to California for that. We made it in one piece.
That was fun. That was also, I watched Brian, at every con we go to, he takes pictures and he's posting like right away and everything else. And I'm always like, oh, come on, Brian. and we're in the Las
Vegas airport.
And he takes a picture of a Wonder Woman slot machine. Before we even got on a plane in Las Vegas, Linda Carter
responded and re-quoted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool. I'm usually not that noisy. I was like, fanboying out over here.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit, that just happened, you know? Okay, any other questions? Anything else you'd like to know?
Well, so it's kind of funny how things come full circle. When Brian and I first started talking about doing the podcast, when we were first kicking things off and really had formulated the plan for the show, the name for the show, and the format, y'all were on your way together to go to GeekCon. Yeah. And we did a little test interview, just testing out the software in the vehicle. Uh-huh. And now here we are at a convention together doing an episode.
It's funny that you should mention that GeekCon. Like I think you were talking about it earlier today. Was the very first convention that I actually wore a costume.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I was freaking out. We were actually staying in a hotel room. I had all kinds of extra clothes because I thought, there's no way I'm staying in a costume all day.
Now, let me pause you. At that con, the hotel was connected. So anytime you needed to just go change, take a break, hit the elevator and go up, it was beautiful.
It was incredible to be that close to our hotel room. We had all the stars staying in the same hotel as us. Yeah, we were on our way to GeekCon, and that was. I remember the call, and we were in a bad spot. And we kept losing you a little bit with the audio thing. And
we also learned that in a car is a lot of background noise. We've got a little bit. You might have heard some security and stuff back there.
Yeah. And on top of that, we've come to find out that the software that we use is very data hungry. A cell signal in a vehicle is not the best for that. So it is what it is, I guess.
And another fun thing, we were talking about that in the car and everything. You guys, almost every guest you met where? Where'd you meet them?
Circle exercise.
Circle exercise.
I'm never taking the circle exercise. So this episode will never air.
No, we've had some non-circle.
We've had a few that weren't.
Well, we're documenting you before you finally take the circle, and then after to see how much you've grown.
Commercial for Jim, please. Yeah. Insert commercial right here. So yeah, it's, I would tell anybody that's doing any acting or anything like that, get out there, have fun, play with this kind of stuff. Start out doing this, find something, I did Bob Ross. There were several people walking by going, Bob Ross, and somebody next to him going, who? And then, it's like you see the connection, and it's a very, very bad wig and a paintbrush. That's what I'm working with. You have to find yourself in the paintbrush and the bad wig and make your spot. I've seen some of y'all's work, and it's just like, it's very low budget and stuff like that, but you bring your stuff, you bring your A game, and it shows. It really does. It's really impressive.
To paraphrase and change a little bit, there are people who have perfect stormtrooper costumes.
Yeah.
And they spend hundreds of dollars, which is beautiful, which I never do. So I do something usually for a photo op. Like I had Star Trek curtains when I met William Shatner and recreated the Twilight Zone gremlin. So I put my spin on it. It's unique. To walk through a room, you got to be, people can make fun of you. I had my fun. And so then the picture, people love when I share it. You know what I mean? So I think to go with what you're saying, find your bliss, and that will inspire others to follow and bring their own bliss.
My first acting coach, I don't know if I could say her name yet because I don't know if she's going to be doing it yet. But my first acting coach, she taught me a couple things that were really incredible. And one of the things she used to do to me was she would hand me a script to have what I was supposed to do, highlight it and everything. And we'd read it once and she said, okay, now you're the other character. It's like, what? A couple times what she would do, I would read my line and she would make a line funny instead of serious. And then I have to shift my character into comedy mode instead of being, I had rehearsed it over and over again as serious. And she did things like that to me. And she said, you have to think on your feet. She said, you will go in for an audition and they're going to say, you know what? Read this. I want you to read this. And they're going to do that to you probably more times than just a straight audition. So if you're going to an audition, if they're seeing you again, they like something about you. Doesn't mean they like you for that one, but they want you for something. They like something about you. Mm-hmm. So be prepared, be able to think on your feet. Take the time, learn a little bit of improv, and just know what you can do and be ready to change your character.
I had a casting director tell me one time that sometimes they'll tell people exactly what you're saying to do it a different way that is not appropriate for the character, funny when it should be serious or vice versa, just to see how well you take direction.
Yeah.
And then do it again. And it's just to see that you can implement what they're asking you to do.
Yeah. And I mean, they usually always, if they're going to hand you something different, they're going to give you a few minutes to look it over and kind of, you know, build it a little bit. But you have to, they're not going to give you an hour. They're going to give you 5 minutes. Here, take a look at this and let's go. You like I said, it's just a matter of being, a little bit more than just one layer. Yeah. And I'm just kind of a layer and a half. I'm not quite 2 years.
You're a many-layered onion. But, we're talking about you're folding origami on set, which is fun, but not that be giving out money is the way you have to do it, but you're a pleasure to work with on set. So that adds a good atmosphere because it's a stressful time. It's everybody. We can later, but maybe not on camera, and you got to pay me $5. So what I'm saying is, if you're a nice person on set, people want you to come back to set.
That's right.
They really want him to come back to set with the dollars, but
Well, I'm gonna talk about that because I was walking the set. I was on a TV show called The Winchesters, working background actually, and I was just kind of walking down the road to go to where we had set up for. And this woman's like running behind me. One of the costume women that's running behind me. And she stops me. She said, "You're Jim, right?" I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "I'm from Atlanta. I just got here yesterday." She said, "I had to stop you." She's like, "They talk about you all over the place. Like, I've heard your name before I even came to Louisiana." She's like, and I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I reached in and I grabbed my wallet. I said, "Here, just take the whole wallet." She laughed. She said, "No, I'm not after an origami or anything." She said, "I just want you to know how much people talk about you. It's just nice to hear every once in a while that somebody's talking about you. It's nice that people find you fun. I mean, it's been a rough couple of years in the movie business. And, personally, it's been, a rough year too for people to see more than just the dollar bill, that they're happy to see you is a very special thing.
Cool. I think we're coming to the end, so let's
Just double checking. I think I have one.
we'll be
in
back
this
after
bag.
this, miss.
Yeah, we'll edit in Jim making an origami and handed it to him real quick.
This is my normal set bag, but I think I might have moved it.
You know how many times that's happened to me where somebody pulls out their origami it happens a lot, and it just makes me smile. And I like I said, over and over again, I've heard people tell me the story of me changing their day or making something better for them that day.
Yeah.
Had a couple of really, really hard stories told to me, after, my origamis and stuff. And one girl said she changed her entire trajectory on what she was doing with her life. And it's like,
Wow.
I didn't do that. I don't take credit for that, but just the idea that she was able to stop and think about what she was doing made her want to.
Your generosity was the pebble in the lake and the ripples that came out from that, So yes, you started the avalanche that helped her.
Yeah.
Claim it.
That's right. Well, you want to take us out?
Yep, we're done. We don't have to listen to Jim. No, I'm just kidding. Jim, it's been a pleasure. Jim and I always go to cons together. It's fun. I call him my con husband. My wife's like, "Yeah, take him. You don't care." But just like on set, Jim's spirit of generosity and just being ready to do anything for a laugh makes it a pleasure to be here. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jim. Thanks for coming on. And I think this is our second con together now, you and I.
Yeah.
I do want to plug December, right?
Yep.
December
Cajun Con.
at Cajun Con.
I'll be somewhere around, probably folding dollar bills real close.
Well,
So probably at our booth.
what I was going to say is we're actually going to sponsor the con.
Right.
We are going to be our logo on their banners. When they make the announcements of, "Hey, thanks for these people," people will be hearing that. And then we could use some people at our booth. So if we need to exit, but you'd have a place to fold your dollars. So come see Jim. Don't even worry about us. Come see him, get a dollar, bring a dollar.
Take my money.
We might have to have them give you a dollar so you don't go broke.
That's right.
I start folding slower when I start running out of dollars.
That's right. All right, folks. See you next time.
See you December.